Don't cry because they left you. People come and go, and though their absence may hurt, it does not define your worth. Their departure is not a reflection of your value, but rather a part of their journey. Sometimes people leave not because of what you did or didn't do, but because they are seeking something they have yet to find in themselves. Do not carry the weight of blame. It is easy to turn inward and ask what you could have done differently, but remember that love, connection, and loyalty must be mutual. You cannot make someone stay who has already chosen to walk away. Your heart may ache, but it still beats strong with purpose. Instead of tears, choose strength. Let their absence be the beginning of your rediscovery. You are not broken, you are becoming. Growth often comes in silence, in solitude, in reflection. You will find that you are still whole, still powerful, and still capable of love. Not in spite of this pain, but because of it. Do not let bitterness take root. Let go, not to forget, but to be free. Carry forward the lessons, but leave behind the sorrow. This moment is not the end. It is a new beginning. Stand tall, for your story continues, with or without those who walked away. When someone leaves your life, whether a friend, a partner, or even a family member, it's easy to internalize their departure as a reflection of your value. But their decision to walk away says more about where they are in their own life than it does about who you are. Your worth is not dependent on someone else's ability to see it, appreciate it, or stay close to it. People often leave for reasons that are tied to their own fears, confusion, insecurities, or personal growth. Sometimes they're not ready for the kind of connection you offer. Sometimes they're chasing something they haven't yet defined. None of that is your fault. You may begin to question everything: your words, your actions, your choices. You may rewind moments in your head, trying to spot where things went wrong. This kind of self-examination can be healthy in moderation, but when it turns into self-blame, it becomes toxic. The truth is, people are responsible for their own choices. If someone chooses to walk away, that decision belongs to them. They may never explain themselves, or they may give reasons that only scratch the surface. But regardless of what they say or don't say, you must understand that their leaving does not make you less. Your value is intrinsic. It is not assigned by others, and it cannot be taken away by their absence. Just as you had worth before they arrived in your life, you continue to have worth after they're gone. When you tie your sense of self to someone else's presence, you risk losing sight of who you truly are. Their recognition or rejection of you should never be the measure by which you determine your strength, your kindness, or your humanity. It's natural to feel hurt. It's human to miss them, to wonder why, to wish things had turned out differently. But within that pain is a powerful truth. You are still here. You are still capable of love, of joy, of meaningful connection. You are still worthy of being seen, understood, and cherished, not because someone stayed, but because you exist. Often, people leave when they aren't ready to face the depth of what's in front of them. It's not about you being too much. It may be about them not being enough for what you offered, and that's not arrogance. It's clarity. It's the realization that someone's departure doesn't make you broken. In fact, it can reveal how whole you already are. In time, you will see their leaving not as a loss of something essential, but as the clearing of space for something better. Someone else will come along who will stay, not because they need to, but because they want to. Until then, let the truth anchor you. Their leaving does not define your worth. You do. Blaming yourself when someone leaves is one of the most common and most painful traps people fall into. When a relationship or connection ends, it's natural to look inward and ask, what did I do wrong? How could I have prevented this? The mind becomes flooded with regrets, self-doubt, and imagine scenarios where things might have gone differently. But this cycle of self-blame can quickly become destructive. It shifts all the responsibility onto you, even though relationships are a two-way dynamic. The truth is, not everything is your fault, and not everything is within your control. When someone walks away, it's easy to replay every conversation, every silence, every fight, and analyze your role. This kind of reflection can be helpful only if it leads to growth, not guilt. If instead it leads to shame or belief that you're inherently unlovable or not enough, then it's no longer reflection, it's self-punishment. And that punishment is not only unfair but entirely unnecessary. You are allowed to feel sadness, confusion, and even anger, but blaming yourself assumes that their decision to leave was purely caused by your flaws, and that is almost never the case. People carry their own unresolved issues. They come into relationships with baggage, fears, unspoken wounds, and unmet needs. Sometimes they don't even fully understand why they can't stay. They might be struggling with personal identity, fear of commitment, emotional immaturity, or the need to escape responsibilities. When someone leaves, it often has more to do with their internal conflict than with anything you did or didn't do. But if you're too busy blaming yourself, you won't see this truth. You'll keep trying to fix a version of yourself that was never broken to begin with. Self-blame is also a way we try to gain control in a situation where we feel powerless. It feels easier to say, if only I had done this, they would have stayed, than to accept the painful reality that they left regardless of our efforts. Taking all the blame can give a false sense of control, because if it was your fault, then maybe you can fix it. But not everything is fixable, especially when it's not truly yours to fix. Healing begins when you release that burden, when you stop asking what you did wrong and start asking what you deserve. You deserve honesty, respect, effort, and presence. If someone couldn't offer those things and chose to leave, that's not your failure. It's their choice based on their own limitations or needs. Let them carry the weight of that decision. Let yourself breathe freely again. You are not the reason someone chose to leave. You are not the problem just because someone couldn't see your value or meet you where you stood. Blaming yourself will only keep you stuck. Instead, choose to learn, to grow, and most importantly, to forgive yourself for ever thinking you weren't enough. Because you are. You can't make someone stay who has already chosen to leave. No matter how much you love them, how deeply you care, or how hard you try to hold on, you cannot force someone to stay in your life if they have made the decision to go. This is one of the most painful truths to accept, but also one of the most freeing. Love, connection, and loyalty must be mutual. They must be chosen, not begged for. When one person stops choosing you, continuing to fight for their presence can quickly become a form of self-abandonment. It's natural to want to fix things when they start falling apart. You might tell yourself, if I say the right thing, if I show them how much I care, maybe they'll change their mind. You might exhaust yourself trying to prove your worth, to rekindle what you once shared, or to remind them of the history you built together. But relationships aren't sustained by one person's effort. They require both people to be present, committed, and willing. When that balance is lost, so is the relationship's stability. You cannot keep it standing alone. There is a difference between fighting with someone to save something meaningful, and fighting for someone who has already let go. When you're the only one holding on, your energy slowly drains, your self-respect begins to fade, and your heart takes on the burden of both people. Eventually, love starts to feel like pain. That is not the love you deserve. Trying to make someone stay often stems from fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of being alone. But clinging to someone who doesn't want to stay won't make them love you more. It will only delay your healing. Worse, it may convince you that love is something to be earned through suffering. That belief is damaging. Real love, healthy love, never makes you feel like you have to beg for it. The hard truth is that when someone wants to leave, you must let them, not because you don't care, but because you do about yourself. Respect yourself enough to release what no longer wants to be held. It's not weakness to let go, it's strength. It's the kind of strength that says, I will not chase someone who does not see my value. I will not shrink myself to fit into someone else's uncertainty. People are not possessions. You cannot convince someone to stay with words alone. You cannot become small enough, kind enough, forgiving enough to change someone's heart if it is already halfway out the door. What you can do is honor your own heart. Give it the peace it needs by accepting what is, rather than clinging to what was. When you stop trying to make someone stay, you open the door to someone who will choose you freely, someone who won't make you question your place in their life. Until then, let those who want to leave go, not out of bitterness, but out of love for them and for yourself. Pain is an inevitable part of being human, and while it often feels like a punishment, it can also be one of our greatest teachers. When someone leaves and your heart breaks, it can feel like your world is falling apart. The sadness is heavy, the silence is deafening, and the future feels uncertain. But in the middle of that emotional storm, something powerful begins to happen. Growth. It's quiet, subtle, and rarely visible at first, but it's there, working its way through the cracks of your heart, reshaping who you are from the inside out. We are conditioned to think of pain as something to avoid, something that signals failure or loss. But emotional pain, especially the kind that comes from heartbreak or abandonment, has a unique ability to expose your deepest truths. It brings everything to the surface. Your fears, your insecurities, your unspoken hopes. It demands your attention in a way that joy never does. And when you sit with it, when you allow yourself to feel it fully without rushing to numb or escape it, you begin to learn things about yourself that you never knew. You realize what you truly value, what you're no longer willing to tolerate, and how much strength you actually possess. You discover your capacity for resilience, for forgiveness, and for healing. Pain stretches you in ways comfort never could. It breaks the illusion of control and reminds you that life is unpredictable, people are imperfect, and love doesn't always go the way you hoped. And yet, it also shows you that you can survive what you thought would destroy you. There is a quiet kind of power in surviving heartbreak. It teaches you patience, self-compassion, and emotional endurance. You become softer in some ways, more empathetic toward others who are hurting. But you also become tougher in other ways, more aware of your boundaries, more protective of your peace, and more selective about who you give your heart to. That transformation is a direct result of the pain you endured. It's important to understand that growth through pain doesn't mean forgetting what happened or pretending it didn't hurt. It means acknowledging the wound, tending to it with care, and allowing it to reshape you into someone wiser and stronger. It's not about becoming cold or closed off. It's about becoming more deeply rooted in yourself. You emerge with a clearer understanding of your worth, not in spite of the pain, but because of it. So when you look back at the moments that hurt the most, you may not remember them fondly, but you will recognize them as turning points. They mark the end of one version of yourself and the beginning of another, and while growth doesn't erase the pain, it gives it meaning. It transforms your suffering into strength, your sadness into self-awareness, and your heartbreak into healing. Pain may change you, but it does not diminish you. In fact, it often reveals just how powerful you really are. Letting go is one of the most difficult but necessary acts of healing. When someone leaves your life, holding on to the pain, the memories, or the questions can feel like the only connection you still have to them. You might replay conversations, hold on to their words, or even hope for their return, but the truth is, holding on to something, or someone, that no longer belongs in your life only keeps you stuck in a place of suffering. Letting go is not about pretending the past didn't happen, or that the pain isn't real. It's about choosing peace over attachment. It's about choosing yourself. Many people misunderstand what letting go truly means. It doesn't mean forgetting them. It doesn't mean erasing the love you felt or the moments you shared. It means releasing the weight of what no longer serves you. It means loosening your grip on the ideal that things should have turned out differently. When you let go, you're not dishonoring the relationship. You're honoring your own heart. You're saying, this hurt me, but I won't let it define me. Letting go is a process, not a moment. Some days it will feel like freedom. Other days it might feel like loss all over again. That's normal. The heart doesn't heal in a straight line. But each time you choose to stop reliving the past, each time you redirect your energy away from what if and toward what now, you reclaim a piece of yourself. And over time, those small moments of choosing peace add up to a life that feels lighter, freer, and more grounded. It's also important to know that letting go doesn't require closure from the other person. You don't need an apology or a final conversation to move forward. Often, closure comes from within. It's the moment you realize you can't change the past and you stop asking it to be different. It's when you stop waiting for someone to come back and instead start coming back to yourself. Letting go creates space. Space for clarity, space for growth, space for someone new who can meet you with the same energy and love that you're willing to give. More importantly, it creates space for you to see yourself more clearly. Without the fog of what used to be, you can start to focus on what is and what could be. You can rebuild your confidence, reconnect with your purpose, and rediscover your own joy. You owe it to yourself to be free. Free from the chains of old heartbreak, free from blaming yourself, free from the exhausting cycle of wondering what went wrong. Letting go isn't weakness, it's strength. It takes courage to stop carrying the pain, to stop trying to make sense of someone else's actions, and to begin again. So release them, not with bitterness, but with grace. Release the story, the expectations, the weight. Not because they didn't matter, but because you do. This is not the end, though it may feel like it right now. Like the silence is permanent, like the emptiness will never be filled again. This chapter is not the final one in your story. The pain you're feeling, the heartbreak, the unanswered questions, the days that blur together, they are all part of a season, not your entire life. Just as seasons change, so too will this moment. You are still standing, you are still breathing, and that means your journey continues. Endings are often disguised beginnings. When someone leaves, it's easy to focus on the space they used to occupy, the words they used to say, the love they once offered. But in time, you begin to realize that their absence has created room for something new. At first, that space might feel cold and unfamiliar, but eventually it becomes a canvas, a blank page, a place where you begin again, not as someone broken, but as someone wiser. You may not see it yet, but new laughter will find its way to you, new conversations, new connections, new joys. What you lost is not all there is. Life still holds love for you, in places you haven't yet looked and with people you haven't yet met. Sometimes the end of one relationship is the beginning of a deeper relationship with yourself. You learn how to be enough for yourself, how to stand on your own, how to give yourself kindness you were once waiting to receive from someone else. And when you begin to rebuild, you'll do so with more intention. You'll be more aware of what you need and what you deserve. You won't settle for half-hearted efforts or almost love. You'll make room only for those who truly see you. Choose you not out of convenience, but from a place of genuine care and commitment. This pain is refining you. It's teaching you how to live with open hands instead of clenched fists, how to trust the process even when the future feels unclear. So if you're standing in the wreckage right now, know it won't always hurt this much. You won't always miss them the same way. One day you'll wake up and realize that you're not just surviving, you're living again, you're laughing without forcing it, you're waking up without the weight on your chest, and when you look back, you'll see that this wasn't the end, it was the moment you came home to yourself. So take a deep breath, wipe your tears, straighten your shoulders. This is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new one, and it's yours to write fully and freely. Let that be your power, let that be your peace, let that be your promise to yourself. *, I am not finished. I am just getting started.